We recently visited Singapore and it's such a beautiful city. Honestly speaking, I was a little skeptical earlier when we were traveling to Singapore, but that completely changed into admiration of this beautiful country slash city.
Because we had such a good time there, so that's why we are making this video so that you can plan your trip perfectly.
Before we move on, I would request each and every one of you who has not subscribed to my channel to do so immediately if you are interested in traveling related videos.
This video will have 7 sections. In first section we will be talking about brief about Singapore, then we will talk about visa process, then we will talk about commute options. चौथे हिस्से में हम बात करेंगे सिम ऑप्शंस की. फिफ्थ हिस्से में वी विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग्स दैट यू शुड नो बिफोर गोइंग टू सिंगापुर. On sixth section, we will be talking about our itinerary, and seventh will be covering the cost and the budget of the trip.
Singapore got independence in 1963. It has 4 official languages: English, Mandarin, Malay, and Tamil, showing the cultural inclusivity in Singapore. Buddhism is the most followed religion in Singapore. Singapore has one of the highest life expectancies in the world. It has a lot of tourists which visit Singapore with around 18.5 million visits in 2018. It is the 5th most visited city in the world. Singapore big visa process can be bit unclear to a lot of people, like it was for us as well, despite watching many videos. So I will try to make this very simple for you. There are 2 ways in which you can get the Singapore visa. The first process is if you have anyone who is residing in Singapore or any of your local contacts, they can apply the visa for you. दूसरा ऑप्शन है to apply it through the authorized agents in India or in the country that you're residing. There is no option to apply for a Singapore visa directly. You can check out the link in the description for the list of authorized agents. The authorized agent list has offices only in few states, but these are just the registered head offices. You can Google and find out the nearest agent office in your city, which will be very closer to you. We got the visa in just 2 to 3 working days. It was very fast process, but I would really suggest you to apply for the visa at least 2 weeks before you travel, so that there's no issue that you face in your travel plans. These are the list of documents that you would require in order to apply for the visa. The first one is your original passport and your previous passports, if any. The second one is the visa application form 14A. Third one is 2 recent colored photographs as per the sizes mentioned in the form. Fourth one is a cover letter. Fifth one is in case you're traveling with your spouse and the spouse's name is not added to the passport, then you'll need a marriage certificate. And the sixth one is the residence proof of the place where you are staying, be it an electricity bill or rent agreement or anything like that. There might be a few more documents which your agent might ask you, but broadly these should cover your major requirement.
You can take the SIM card from any convenience stores like 7-Eleven or Cheers. And there are 3 major operators in Singapore: Singtel, StarHub and M1. और आपके सिम को एक्टिवेट होने में 10 से 15 मिनट लगेंगे, और जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन आपको उसको एक्टिवेट करने में चाहिए वो आपको सिम के पैक पर, या यू कैन टेक द हेल्प फ्रॉम द पर्सन विच विल बी अवेलेबल एट कन्वीनियंस स्टोर. We took Singtel and it worked seamlessly for us.
Singapore has an extremely good connectivity of metro, which is called MRT there. There are around 6 lines in Singapore's MRT, which cover almost the entire Singapore, and you can reach almost everywhere using the metro. For using a metro, you need to buy an EasyLink card, which you can get at any of the convenience stores, be it a 7-Eleven or a Cheers store. This EasyLink card will initially cost you 10 Singapore dollar, out of which 5 Singapore dollar is usable and the rest is something which you have to bear. The second option that you have is to travel through public buses as well. For that also you can use your EasyLink card. Both of these options, the metro and the buses, are quite affordable, and majority of the people do prefer that, and these are really seamless and cover the entire Singapore. The third option also is there, which is to travel through taxis. For that you should download an app called Grab, and the taxi network also is quite good in Singapore. The only caveat is that it's going to be a little bit on the expensive side. For our trip of 4 to 5 days, we just used the metro, and we could reach everywhere where we wanted to go in our entire itinerary. Two more points which I want to add. First is that the EasyLink card, you can recharge it at any of the metro stations. And the second point is that you can even use your Visa or MasterCard instead of the EasyLink card for traveling in the metros or the buses. The only thing is that it's going to be a little bit on the expensive side versus the EasyLink card, but that option is also there in case you do not want to buy the EasyLink card.
There are some additional but very important points which you have to keep in mind when you are traveling to Singapore. First one is to carry your water bottle with you, because bottled water is very expensive in Singapore. A 500 ml water bottle can cost you around 2 or 2.5 Singapore dollar. So it's important that you keep it with you, and you can fill it and refill it again at your hotel and malls and other public places you are visiting. Second is that you should carry your raincoat at all the times with you, because in Singapore rains are quite unpredictable. सबसे ज़्यादा बारिश यहाँ पर नवंबर से फरवरी महीने तक में होती है, and the weather is quite similar with the temperature ranging from 24 to 32 degrees Celsius. Third is that you have to carry your shoes with you, बिकॉज जगहों तक जाने के लिए और जगहों को एक्सप्लोर करने के लिए आपको बहुत चलना पड़ेगा. जगहें जैसे यूनिवर्सल स्टूडियो, गार्डन्स बाय वे, ये बहुत बड़े एरियाज में फैली हुई हैं, तो प्लीज़ कैरी गुड शूज़.
Our trip was for 4 days and we could cover majority of the major attractions. On day one, we reached Singapore in the morning and we covered Jewel, Haji Lane and the Malayan Park. On day two, we went to Little India, Arab Street and Gardens by the Bay. On day three, we spent our entire day in the Universal Studios. On day four, we covered Boogie Street, Art Science Museum and the Marina Bay Sands. I will also be making day-wise videos in order to give you more information about these places. There are some places that we could not cover in our itinerary, but could be worthwhile are the Singapore Gardens, the Singapore Zoo, the Singapore Flyer and some beaches of the Sentosa island. There are two apps on which you can pre-book all the major attractions that you want to visit. One is Get Your Guide and the second is Klook. You should download any of these apps in your phone before you travel, and I would highly recommend that you pre-book the attractions before you travel to Singapore. We used Get Your Guide and it was such a seamless experience. I've shared the links of all the major attractions below. You can check out those links and book as per what attraction attracts you. Last thing I will cover in this video is the budget. Since Singapore is a very expensive city, country, it's really important to plan your budget well in advance. So we'll start with that. सबसे पहले flight का खर्चा. From Mumbai, the to and fro flights are going to cost you somewhere between 20 to 25k per person. Second expense is the hotel expense. If you are a solo travel, I would recommend that you can stay in hostels, which there are plenty of them in Singapore. That will cost you around 2.5 to 4k per night, depending on the kind of experience that you want. But if you are someone who is traveling with a wife or a family, a good hotel would cost you somewhere between 8 to 12k. Although not mandatory, but I will also recommend you to get a travel insurance whenever you're traveling abroad. So that will roughly cost you not more than 500 rupees per person. The visa cost is roughly around 2.5k per person for Singapore. One of the major expenses when you're traveling to Singapore is the site bookings like Universal Studio, Gardens by the Bay, etc. You can consider cost of around 13 to 16k per person for all the places that I've mentioned in the itinerary. SIM will cost you roughly around 600 to 700 INR for a trip not exceeding 10 days. Food is another major expense. So assuming if your breakfast is included in the hotel, for a single person, it will cost around 1500 to 2000 INR per day. This is obviously excluding if you are, let's say, eating out in any exotic places or having some drinks in any of those places. Internal commute is another major expense in Singapore. For a 4-day trip, you can assume roughly around 2 to 2.5k per person for those 4 days, which also includes your travel from your base city to the airport and vice versa. इसके बाद you can add additional roughly around 10,000 rupees per person, which includes your miscellaneous and your shopping expenses. So all in all, for a solo traveler, the expenses of Singapore for a 4-day 4-night trip would be roughly around 70 to 80,000, and for a couple or a family would anywhere be between 1.5 to 1.6 lakh. I hope you really liked the information that I've provided in this video. If you did, I would request you to like this video and share with as many people as possible, and do subscribe as well. I will be back with additional videos from my Singapore trip, so keep checking out. See you next time.